Our first guest speaker today is James Graham Jr., and maybe better known to some people as Tony. Has served in the military from 1946 to 1968. He received his advanced training in Camp Holabird, Maryland. His experiences has served him well over the years, as shown in his military records. Veterans Graham retired from the military in 1968. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my extreme pleasure to introduce to you James Graham Jr., or Tony.
I want to thank everyone for letting me participate today on this veteran service. And thank you, fellow vets, for your service, all of us. I joined the Army in 1946 in Braymer, Missouri. I was 16 years old. A lot of us did get in a little early in those days. And I joined the Army and retired after 21 years of duty. I had duty in Germany, Korea, and Vietnam. Before retiring in 1946, I had one close call in Saigon, about the closest I had, I guess. I walked out of my hotel and down the street, and they bombed the hotel. I don't think they were after me. I was going down to a bar. My other close call was in Munich, Germany. It was with Debbie Hebner. She was trying to rent a car from the police department. And I think they're still looking for her. And I thank all you vets for your service and everyone else for your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my extreme pleasure to introduce you today retired Brigadier General Stephen Cotter. Yeah, I can fly airplanes, but I'm not much of a speaker. I've kind of adopted Cameron as my adopted home. I have a cabin and 100 acres and a 12-acre lake up north of Fairport. I'm not going to tell you where it's at, or you guys will be up there catching all my fish. But I spend a lot of time in Cameron. I do Porcelains is my favorite store. I do a lot of shopping there. But last night I had the privilege of I was invited to throw out the first pitch at the St. Joe Mustangs game. And then when I got there, I found out that I was actually throwing out about the 10th pitch. They had a line of other people there in front of me. Of course, the first one was Troy Green, who's one of Cameron's presidents. Purple Heart winner. They go, "Have you met Sergeant Green?" And I go, "Well, yeah, I pinned the Purple Heart on him." So Cameron's got some really some famous residents. Heidi Utt was one of our airmen from the 139th Airlift Wing who gained national acclaim when she saved the life of a woman about to jump off the Missouri River Bridge. And Heidi intervened and stopped that, so she received national attention for that. A couple times when I was on the bridge, I don't think she tried to stop me. But good morning. What a beautiful morning. Thank you for inviting me to be part of the Veterans Memorial Tribute on this, the 237th anniversary of our nation's independence. It's an honor to be here as we honor and remember our veterans, both past and present. John F. Kennedy once said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. I'm pretty sure JFK would agree that the community of Cameron, Missouri is doing precisely that. This event and one of the finest veterans homes in the world are testament to the citizens of Cameron and their commitment to veterans. I'm never really sure what to say at these events because most of the time I'm preaching to the choir. The veterans know what it means to serve, and those of you who are citizens and have not served are here to thank your veterans and honor them. So your presence here this morning, if you're not a veteran, is deeply appreciated. We owe much to our founding fathers who some 237 years ago penned the Declaration of Independence. Our founding fathers were indeed brave men and women, but it has been our nation's veterans who have paid for our freedom with their blood. Veterans, more than anyone, know that freedom is not free. We thank our veterans today for stepping forward while others step back. How do we motivate our future generations to serve our nation and protect our most precious resource, freedom? We do it through events such as this, and never forgetting those who serve. Veterans are my personal heroes. Throughout my entire life, veterans have been my examples, my mentors, and my guideposts through life. A member of my family has served this nation in every war, beginning with the American Revolutionary War. Both my grandfathers served in World War I, and my father served in World War II, seeing action during the Battle of the Bulge. The man who taught me to fly was a World War II veteran who was shot down over France and captured by the Germans. Little did he know that he not only taught me how to fly, but instilled in me a sense of duty and honor through service. I'm a better man because of veterans, and I thank them for all they have given me, but most of all for protecting the freedom that I enjoy today. Now, I must admit, when I joined the service, I had one objective. I wanted to fly military airplanes. Going to war and the possibility of being asked to give my life was the farthest thing from my mind. Little did I know that some 14 years later, I would receive orders deploying me to the Middle East in Operation Desert Storm. I was ready, well-trained and eager to prove my devotion to this great nation. As an aircraft commander, I was responsible for not only my air crew, but a multi-million-dollar airplane. Our job was to deliver supplies and equipment to our frontline fighting troops. And as you might guess, in order to deliver supplies and equipment to frontline troops, you got to go to the front lines. I'm not ashamed to admit that I was scared, but never shared my thoughts with any of my crew members or anyone else. I was, after all, a mid-range officer and a brave American pilot. One night during a routine stop in Dhahran to pick up supplies, we were in the cockpit preparing to start engines and depart on another delivery run. All of a sudden, sirens went off and a voice came over a loudspeaker and announced Scud alert. If any of you are familiar with the Scud, it's a great big huge missile full of explosives. Our directive said if your engines were running, you could take off immediately. Well, unfortunately, our engines were not running, and we were required to evacuate the aircraft. Well, once again, I was faced with fear, and I thought, so I announced over the aircraft intercom, I said, okay, abandon ship. And I thought, well, you're not in the Navy, that wasn't a real good thing to say. I grabbed my gas mask, because we were all prepared for gas, and I threw my seatbelt off, took out of that airplane, and just about the time I got to the front door, these Patriot missile batteries went off. Now, the Patriot missile batteries go supersonic as soon as it comes out of the tube to go after the missile, which creates quite an explosion. In a 300-yard dash to the bunker, I think my feet touched the ground maybe 2 times. I got to the bunker, and my co-pilot was right behind me, and I stopped, and it dead silent outside. Not a single member of my crew other than the co-pilot was there. So I kind of looked around, and I thought, well, there was a real brave aircraft commander that just abandoned his aircraft and his crew. So I had to come to grips with my fear, and I just nonchalantly walked out in that still night, and walked back over there, and half the crew was still hanging around the airplane. I said, you gentlemen want to grab your chemical gear and join us in the bunker, just in case one of those big bombs happens to hit here. I learned much about myself that night, and much about fear. Fear is a powerful force, and few know how they will react until actually confronted. I learned to control my fear and deal with it. Don't get me wrong, it was always there, but under strict control. Many of our veterans have faced fear and danger. Some saw their worst fears come to pass. In the words of Billy Ray Cyrus' song, all gave some, and some gave all. Thank you, veterans, for serving our nation and protecting the freedoms we enjoy here today. God bless the United States of America, and happy birthday to the greatest nation on this planet. Thank you.